If you've recently started Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, or even the compounded versions of Semaglutide or Tirzepatide, and you're dealing with nausea, bloating, or sulfur burps, you're probably starting to wonder if this is just how it's going to feel from now on. And I want you to know that frustration is completely valid. But here's what nobody tells you when they hand you that prescription. The side effects most people struggle with aren't inevitable. They're almost always fixable, and in most cases they come down to a few specific adjustments that your doctor probably never walked you through. In my clinic, I've watched patients go from wanting to quit these medications entirely to having almost no side effects. And most of them start feeling significantly better within 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're miserable right now, I want you to hear that this probably isn't permanent. And here's exactly what you need to do. To understand why these symptoms happen and why the fixes actually work, you need to understand one thing about how these medications change your body. Your stomach normally acts like a drain. Food goes in, empties out, and moves along. These medications turn that drain into a slow drip funnel. Food moves through much more slowly. We call this slowed gastric emptying, and it's actually part of how the medication works. That slowdown helps you feel full longer and reduces your appetite. But when too much food enters that slowed system, or when it sits there too long without anything, it creates the exact symptoms you're dealing with: nausea, bloating, and those sulfur burps. So once you understand that slowdown, every fix I'm going to show you will make complete sense. Because your stomach is emptying more slowly, meal size suddenly matters in a way it never did before. What used to feel like a completely normal portion can now sit in your stomach for hours. So the first adjustment isn't necessarily about what you eat, it's about how much you eat at one time. So start with about half of what you'd normally serve yourself and eat slowly. Pause for a minute or two before going back for more. Here's why that matters. One of the things these medications do is trigger earlier satiety, meaning you start feeling full sooner than you used to. But most people keep eating out of habit because they're used to finishing what's on their plate. And with food moving through so much more slow, it's very easy to blow past that fullness signal without realizing it, and then feel awful 20 minutes later. So a rule I give my patients early on: stop at about 80% full. Not stuffed, not even comfortably full, just 80%. It'll feel strange at first, but your stomach is essentially learning new rules under this medication, and giving it that buffer prevents a lot of unnecessary suffering. Now, if you're already eating smaller meals and your symptoms are still rough, the next thing to look at is your dose escalation. Most of these medications follow a titration schedule where the dose increases about every 4 weeks or so. But here's something that your prescriber may not have emphasized. That schedule is not a guideline, not a rule your body has to follow. If symptoms are still significant when it's time to move up, it's completely reasonable and often the smarter move just to stay at your current dose just a little bit longer. How do you know when you're ready to go up? Well, a good sign is that your symptoms have settled. You're tolerating your meals without issues, and the nausea has become more of an occasional thing rather than a daily one. That's usually when your body is ready for the next step. Sometimes slowing down that escalation alone can completely change your experience on these medications. Now here's a part that trips up almost everybody because it goes against every instinct you have. When nausea hits, your gut reaction is to stop eating. Makes sense, right? If food's making you sick, just don't eat. But with these medications, that usually makes things worse. When the stomach stays empty too long, nausea builds. So people end up stuck in the cycle. They don't eat because they feel sick, and they feel sick because they won't eat. The way to break this cycle feels completely backwards at first, but you have to eat, just not very much. Think of it as microdosing your food. 2 crackers, a few bites of something bland, a couple sips of a protein shake. Something small every 3 to 4 hours, even if you have zero appetite. That steady, small input gives your stomach something to work with, and it usually calms things down far more effectively than waiting it out. So if you try nothing else from this video, try that. Now at some point you may ask your doctor for something to help with the nausea, and that's a completely reasonable thing to do. One of the most commonly used options is Zofran or ondansetron. It can work really well, but there's one thing worth knowing before you take it. Constipation is already one of the more common side effects of GLP-1 medications because they slow the entire digestive system. And constipation is also one of the most common side effects of Zofran. Doesn't mean you can't use it, it just means that it's a conversation worth having with your doctor, especially if your digestion is already feeling sluggish. There are other options, and knowing this ahead of time lets you make a little bit more informed choice. Now here's something that catches a lot of people off guard. These medications don't just reduce your appetite, but they often reduce your sense of thirst as well. So you may be drinking significantly less fluid than usual without even realizing it. And when that happens, the digestive system slows down even further. That's one of the main drivers of the constipation people run into on these medications. So a simple rule I use with my patients: your urine needs to be a light yellow or nearly clear. If it's getting darker, you're probably not drinking enough. Now, when people notice constipation, the first thing many people reach for is fiber, and fiber can absolutely help. But there's one mistake that can actually make constipation worse. That's increasing fiber without increasing water at the same time. Fiber without adequate hydration can create something almost like concrete in the gut and turns a manageable constipation issue into a much more serious one. So if you add fiber, add water with it. These two things have to move together. I mentioned at the start that most of my patients start feeling significantly better within 2 to 3 weeks. And I want to come back to that because I think it's important. That timeline assumes that you're making these adjustments. It's not just white knuckling through the side effects and hoping they pass. When you eat smaller portions, pace your meals, stay hydrated, and slow the dose escalation if you need to, most people find that nausea becomes infrequent and the bloating and digestive issues settle down considerably. For some people it's faster, and for some it may take a little bit longer, but the trajectory is almost always in the right direction, as long as you're not inadvertently doing the things that keep the symptoms going. Now I want to shift to something that's easy to miss, because you can't feel it happening. When the scale drops quickly on these medications, some of that weight is coming from muscle, not just fat. And that matters for 2 reasons. First, losing muscle slows your metabolism and makes it much easier to regain the weight down the road. And second, and this surprises people, it's one of the reasons some patients start to look a little gaunt or hollow in the face as they lose weight. It's not just fat coming off, it's structural tissue as well. The challenge is that these medications lower your appetite significantly, so overall food intake drops. And protein is usually the first thing to fall off. And that's where muscle loss starts. So here's what you do about it. First, make protein a priority at every meal. For most people, a practical target is somewhere between 80 to 120 grams per day, depending on your body size. You don't need to be perfect about it, but you do need to be intentional. Eat your protein first. If you get full before you finish the rest of your plate, that's fine, but protein comes first. And second, your body needs a signal to hold on to muscle while the weight is dropping. And that signal is resistance training. That doesn't mean spending hours in the gym, 2 or 3 short sessions a week. Weights, resistance bands, even body weight exercises is generally enough to make a significant difference. So that combination, adequate protein plus resistance training, is what tells your body to burn fat and preserve muscle. And it's what protects your metabolism while the scale is moving. So to bring this all together, slow your dose escalation if you need to, adjust your meal size, break the nausea cycle with small, regular food intake, stay hydrated and pair that hydration with fiber if constipation is an issue, and protect your muscle with protein and resistance training. Most people who do these things find that the medication becomes significantly easier to tolerate, and the result becomes much more sustainable over time. Now, you came to this video because you're struggling right now, and I hope this gave you a clear path forward, and I hope you're feeling a lot better 2 weeks from now. In the next video, I'll show you 5 practical steps that make the weight loss itself much more effective, whether you're on these medications or not. These are things that you can start doing right away that most people never think about. So I'll see you right there.